Your complete attention, if you please.
Just what is it that you want to do?
What do I ask you, brother? Do you think you're funny? That's what I like to know.
This is
Intermission.
Anything on anybody's mind? Anything, that I hear a poem about?
So we are here with our intermission guest today, Andie Capelletti.
Yes.
I got it right. Just can't spell it right. Andie, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, of course. I'm happy to be here.
And for those listening, Andie is in fact not the male version of Andie, but she is the female version of Andie.
Yes, I am the female version of Andie, in case you couldn't tell by the sound of my voice.
Right. Still, you spelled A-N-D-I-E.
Yes, that is the true distinction between the two of us, other than our gender.
Gotcha.
The spelling of the name.
Well, have you ever met any other Andie's name, or girls named Andie?
I actually haven't. I know a couple people who know people who are named Andie,
Okay.
but I haven't had the pleasure of having this face-to-face interaction with somebody with the same name. And usually it's short for Andrea. It's not just
Oh,
Andie.
and yours is just Andie.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Parker is a name that can be both guys and girls. I don't know if I've maybe
Never heard of a female
Parker Posey,
Oh, you're right. Never mind.
the amazing actress. Is she amazing? And I'm sure I've seen her in something. But I don't think I've ever met another person met another Parker. Who's a woman.
Even a boy?
Oh, I've met other Parkers, and I'm like, what you trying to pull? But
Yeah. Kind of ruins the
Yeah, you're right.
uniqueness of.
Actually, when I was 5, I distinctly remember going to some soccer thing, and up until then, I guess I had never ever met someone with the name Parker, and there was another kid named Parker in there, and I bawled. I was like, how could he have my name?
Oh no.
Because Parker is it's not that unique of a name, but it's
Right.
still
It's still
not
yeah.
common enough that where it's people aren't walking around like, oh hey Dave or Matt. Matt's a common name.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When I was in elementary school and they had all the Sarah C and the Sarah M, I never had to go by the last initial. I
Exactly.
always just had my first name and that was it. That's all I needed. So.
Yeah, pretty special. So you are a mystery year here at UMBC studying theater. Is that correct?
A mystery year?
I don't know your year.
Oh, well, that's because I'm a transfer student. So I thought you were
That's what
referring
I
to
meant.
that it's kind of ambiguous.
Right.
But yes, I am in theater and transfer here.
When did you transfer?
I transferred in the spring of 2015. So I've been here a while, but yeah.
Where'd you transfer from?
I transferred from Hartford Community College, which is up where I live, which
Gotcha.
is pretty far away from here,
Yeah, long drive.
but yes.
That's pretty fun. And you went to Hartford knowing you were going to transfer, or?
Yeah, I wanted to just get my gen eds out of the way in a cheaper
Smart.
environment.
Yes.
So I was like, I'll just get them out of the way and then I'll transfer somewhere else and just do all of my degree specific stuff somewhere else. And it was kind of a long way coming here, but I'm actually really happy that I ended up here. I think this is a really cool school.
That's good.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't make that
Yeah,
decision. So
exactly.
fun things.
So when you came into UMBC in 2015, were you a theater major as well?
No, when I first came here, I was doing modern languages and linguistics, and my concentration is in Korean as my language. And then I wanted to do a theater minor, and then I decided, you know what? Why not just go all the way? So
Yeah.
and then I decided to be a double major
Oh, yeah.
the spring afterwards. So
Pretty fun. And are you still majoring in Korean or specializing in Korean?
yeah, so now I'm doing both at the same time.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. So maybe one day you get to act over there in Korea.
Maybe, who knows? It's interesting. People have asked me before how I can combine the two things that I'm doing, and I've always thought how could I do those, and who knows, maybe I could just end up being a famous Korean actor. Who knows?
Or I guess it's more anime is more Japanese. I was thinking, do Koreans
Yeah.
do
Well,
a
it
lot
could be
of
both. Yeah, they both have.
anime?
It's originally a Japanese custom, but it could be either one.
So how did you come to wanting to study Korean? That seems like a very non-Western language.
Yeah, it's not French or anything like that, where it's you can just take it in high school. No, I actually started listening to Korean pop music when I was in middle school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people know about now, but back then it felt like a really obscure thing that only I was into, and I really liked it. But so I listened to it, and I was like, I really want to know what these people are saying, and not have to look at all the translations every time
Yeah.
I'm listening to something. And then I decided I really like learning languages, and that was the one I happened upon.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Me personally, I'm still working on English, I think.
Yeah, same.
But that's awesome. So are you fluent enough where you thinking in Korean is different from you thinking in English?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it that way. I would say that a lot of times there are certain things that are in Korean that I can't really translate in English specifically, like that are culturally based. So I guess in a way for those things, it's like I understand what I'm saying, but if you asked me what it meant in this language, I couldn't necessarily give it to you in one word definition. So it's a bit of code switching.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. So could you give us an example of you speaking Korean?
Of me speaking Korean?
Yeah, what's like a nice,
Oh, gosh.
easy sentence?
I mean, okay. I'll just introduce myself. So
Okay.
if I'm just saying hello, my name is Andie, then it would be 안녕하세요. 저는 Andie입니다. 만나서 반갑습니다. So
Wow.
Which
What was that
is-
second part?
the second part was it's nice to meet you.
Oh, okay. 'Cause it sounded.
You could tell it was a little extra.
Yeah, I was
there.
like, snuck something in there. That's pretty cool. So learning Korean, have you also gotten an ear to differentiate between Japanese and Vietnamese and Chinese and Mandarin and all those other languages, or do they still kind of?
Yeah, no, they definitely, once you start learning one, you can start to tell when you're listening to them, like, oh, that is Japanese, oh, that is Mandarin, that's Korean.
That's cool.
Which is actually really helpful, I think. Sometimes, somebody will be walking by me and I'm like, oh man, they're speaking Korean. Like, I just
Ooh.
wonder what they're saying over there.
Uh-huh.
But, no, yeah, it's just, I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah,
You could,
sounds pretty cool.
it's so interesting.
And can you write it as well? Because I've seen you doing homework sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, I can write. They try to teach you all of it at the same time, so it's not like, you can speak it but you're illiterate or whatever,
Gotcha.
so
Gotcha.
learning it all at the same time.
It's pretty neat. Does
Yeah.
Korean is more circly? I don't know if that's
Korean
that,
is a very boxy, so
Okay.
they have a rule where, you keep everything in a specific space, so
Okay.
and there's certain rules about, consonants and vowels and where they're placed within that, but yeah, it's usually just a square shape for each syllabic sound.
Gotcha. Whereas isn't Japanese much more? I think of it as much more paintbrushy.
Yes, Japanese
Strokey.
is okay. Strokey, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's definitely more like that. It's more. Japanese also has 3 different kinds of writing, so
Oh.
it can get a little bit
Did not know that.
complicated. Yeah, yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your fun fact for the
Wow.
day.
Yeah, pretty cool. Jolie, do you have any Korean questions?
No, I do not have any Korean questions.
Never thought you'd have any questions to ask a Korean major.
No.
Do you guys
I
study?
mean,
Do you guys study both North and South Korea, or do you guys not really talk about North Korea?
Actually, it's funny you say that. I found out that my Korean teacher is actually from North Korea,
Oh,
which I didn't know
wow.
that. But she was saying.
how?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
She was saying she was trying to translate something for us. She was like figuring out the exact way to spell it and say it, and then she realized, oh wait, no, that's the North Korean pronunciation. And then she went on to say, I actually am from North Korea, and everybody in the class was blown away by this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
But-
really cool.
So apparently, I guess there are linguistic differences too between North and South Korea.
That makes sense.
Not the only difference.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah. That's some story recently about 2 reporters going into, I think, CNN International. 2 reporters going to North Korea and actually getting to see some of what is the capital city? Pyongyang.
Pyongyang.
Yeah. Of like the city for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
very fascinating state.
Yeah, my dad has said to me, he's like, you can be a Korean major, but you are not going into North Korea. That's the one rule I have. So
That's
it's a pretty fair rule, yeah.
Well, we're about out of time. Any questions for us? Or-
Questions for you guys.
Or shout outs, words of advice, or plugs for the audience?
Ooh.
You go first, Andy, because I have one.
Like, is this like motto, catchphrase,
It could
life
be whatever you
advice?
want it to be.
Oh, geez. Let's see. Don't be a double major. That's what I would say. Unless you really don't want to have free time, and then it's probably a better idea for you.
Did you have?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know it's only the 2nd of the month, but at the end of the month, I think all 3 of us are doing this one thing.
What is it called?
It's
What's on that?
I think it's a play called Suddenly Last Summer.
I haven't heard of it.
At the theater department.
Wow.
That the audience should definitely come and see. I know we're a bit of a ways away, but our design run is tonight. Did you know that, Parker?
Yes, I knew the design run's tonight. Oh boy,
but
oh boy.
those performances start March 30th, so definitely come by and see the 3 of us. In a show.
Yell a bunch,
Absolutely.
I guess. Well, you don't yell too much.
No, I don't. I just run around a lot.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
Get a lot of exercise.
I do all
Jolie
of the above.
cries.
I
Yeah.
cry a lot.
Cry
I
a
run
ton.
around. Mostly cry, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Andie.
Thank you. I had a good time.
Oh, yeah.